Hey everyone, welcome to the Sackhoff Show. Thank you so much for joining us on this beautiful Tuesday. I'm going to remind you to go ahead and make sure you hit that subscribe button wherever you are getting this podcast today. That is the best way to follow the show. I am really excited about today's guest. You're going to know him. You're going to love him. It's Jon Heder. If you don't know Jon Heder, have you seen Napoleon Dynamite? And if you haven't seen Napoleon Dynamite, you should go and watch that really quick because it is an amazing classic and we talk so much about it and there's so many spoilers in it and it's really amazing. We're also going to talk about his new movie, Waltzing with Brando, which is a very good movie that I had the pleasure to watch. Remember to send your questions and comments to the sackhoffshow@gmail.com. We love to hear from you. I am just going to let you get to know my beautiful, wonderful Pacific Northwest buddy, Jon Heder, a little bit better. Now that just puts all the pressure on you, Jon, to actually perform.
Well, I'm so used to just doing podcasts from my home. Just like sitting down and can't see anything lower than this.
I'm sorry you had to put pants on today to come to this podcast.
And sometimes blurring out or like having people ask about the weird stuff behind me.
The weird thing in the background. Yep. It's always interesting to discover that somebody has decided to blur their background out or they're just going to go with it.
Yeah, I just go with it because it looks even worse when you blur it.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Technological, I'm done.
That was great, guys. Thanks for coming in. It was great. So you do, just to start off the bat with a doozy, your lips do look sunburned.
Do they look sunburned?
In this light. They didn't.
Did I reapply since I've been in?
When you know you have not. But when you showed up and told me, I wouldn't have noticed in natural light. But here in the studio, they definitely look a little used. Yeah,
they are rough and they have been roughed up the last few days. Do you have, when I start my podcast, I will definitely have a sponsor from Chapstick because of the obvious connections.
Yes, of course.
And yes, I always keep one on me. I'm reapplying right now.
Does it hurt as you reapply?
No, it doesn't. No, it soothes it. It's great. Because I literally Googled today, like, what do you do? What do you put on burnt lips? I mean, chapstick seems like obvious, and it is. They say, like, do stuff like that. Drink lots of water.
Yeah.
I'm drinking lots of stuff. This is from ignorantly.
I love the fact that we're just talking about chapped lips, and like that's how it started. And people are like completely confused.
No,
we should never elaborate.
But see, that's such a large part of like my career, and people coming up like, "You have any chapstick?" With obvious references.
More than tots?
And normally, no, about 50-50.
Okay.
50-50. But I always do keep chapstick. Weirdly, I had never touched a stick until I lived in Utah.
Okay.
Because Utah's super dry.
Super dry.
And I'm from Oregon, and it's not that dry here. And so, ever since having lived there, I was like, oh my gosh. And then I discovered chapstick. I started using it. I was like, this is glory. And ever since, I've always had one in my right pocket. Even if you look at some of my characters in some of my films, you can probably see a little bulge in my costumes. There's probably normally like the makeup people are always like, you got something? I'm like, I'm good to go.
You know that chapstick is actually addictive, right?
Well, are you talking about chapstick brand?
Yes.
Or are you talking about just lip balm?
Chapstick brand.
Yeah, I don't use actual chapstick.
So,
no, wait, I take that back. I use it sometimes. Chapstick, please be a sponsor for my podcast. That's inevitably never going to happen.
My mother is the same. So you literally has chapstick in her pocket from the moment I remember.
Wow.
It's just chapstick. And it's the cherry. It's not like the medicated or the black one. It is like the cherry chapstick. And she reapplies chapstick constantly. And that's why I think that's
I don't know. Yeah, I remember hearing that once, but then some people say that about Burt's Beeswax, the Burt's Bees.
Yeah, I don't know.
And I use that sometimes, but honestly, it's changing a lot because I've tried to make it my thing now. Like if I'm I like homemade chapsticks or the ones when you go to little fairs or, okay, this is not some big
Somebody's
company.
heart and soul.
Someone's heart and soul. So I try to collect chapstick now, but it's less of a collection where I'm setting it up on my shelf and more like just piled in my drawer because I go through it. So I just grab a new one. And every time it's a different brand and different kind.
How many chapsticks are in this drawer?
Right now, there's probably like 10. So it's not like
so it's
insane.
not like
I'm not like
it doesn't look like
person.
It's like, like a claw machine of chapstick.
I mean, it probably would be if I didn't use it so much, but I'm using it a lot. And it's not just me. It's my entire family knows Dad's always got one in his right pocket. So my wife, all the kids like, chapstick, yep. They ask, and I'm like, why do you ask? You know it's here.
Why do you ask?
Why do you ask?
Why? I don't know.
Why are you wasting breath right now?
Okay.
And my breath.
So we should probably elaborate on, because one of the things when we actually like reconnected again a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
You tried to convince me that because we both live in the Pacific Northwest and you're a big backpacker camper, that I should camp.
Yeah.
That it's good for the soul.
It's wonderful. I don't even know if we went that far, but it is great point, Katee. It is great for the soul. It is great for so many things, but not lips when you're above 9,000 feet.
I will do everything else that's good for my soul. Yeah. Everything except camp outside. You said you love hiking. You guys love, so you will go all the way to the point where, nope, I need rest in my bed. I mean, and you brought up some points when we discussed this. Okay. You had a big fear, which was kind of a first for me. I talk about backpacking a lot, outdoor stuff with a lot of people. Yeah. And more often than not, the pushback that I get is normally based off of, it's outdoors. I just don't like bugs, or I don't like, I need the creature comforts that, every day. Yours came from a different place. Mine is seriously that I'm convinced we'll die.
Yeah. Like,
being attacked by animals.
Yeah, but more specifically, not just like bears or cougars, by man. Oh. You express like a fear in like, there will be a murderer out there. Like, yeah. You had just read a story or just heard a story about some guy who had killed.
Yes. Like, a father and daughter, I think, in California. It's a couple years ago now. But like, that was sort of one of those things. So I am a planner. Like, I love everything in order.
You love backpacking.
I would love
to plan everything.
I would love the planning of the backpacking. But the one thing you can't plan for is like, Pete showing up, deciding to murder your whole family.
Yeah, well, you're right. Yeah.
You can't plan for that. And I would rather just not know what that ever feels like.
I'm pretty sure bear mace can work on humans as well.
I'm pretty sure that it could. But then we talked about the woman in the Canadian, like in the Banff area, deep
Appalachia.
Nope. The Kootenay Mountains, like deep in that area. I think that's what it's called. And she went through 2 cans of bear mace, and the bear still got her.
I don't have a lot of experience with bear mace. I use bear bags, not to put over their heads when, to blind them or disorient them.
You're wrestling the bear.
I get it.
Honey.
Despite what people may believe, you don't get inside a bear bag and it's bear proofs, although that's the same technology. Why wouldn't that apply? Just hop in your bag, tie it up, and then the bear can get you.
You could wench yourself up into a tree.
He can drag you to his den, and then eventually you'll have to come out, and they know that. So, no, that's really unfortunate that happened to her. That's weird. Either she was misaiming, just blindly. Maybe first shot she hit herself. Maybe. We shouldn't talk lightly.
I don't know. We should not talk lightly about that. But that is my thing. Yeah. And you tried to convince me that wouldn't happen, that there are no cougars attacking in the Pacific Northwest. And I just sent you a news story of a 4-year-old being attacked by a cougar on a very populated, trail, and the father managed to pull.
And it was in Washington, wasn't it? Yeah, like right around the corner,
right by your house.
Yeah, well, you could get hit by a car every time you step in your car and traffic. I mean, look, we could go down that road. We don't want to do that, right? Just the chances. Yeah, you're right. Any of these things could happen, but that's what's so fun about planning. I mean, I grew up being a scout, and so, the motto is be prepared. So everything is all about, backpacking is the culmination, I think. Well, life is the culmination. It's like, must be prepared for everything. But, when you're backpacking, you think about, okay, what am I going to need? What could happen? What could happen here? What situation do I need this? And every time I finish a backpacking trip, I really ought to. Normally, I just file it away in my memory, but I really ought to take notes on okay, we forgot extra fuel canisters, so we were running on fumes and some kind of sunscreen lip balm. Yeah. Which normally I think I do have, or most lip balms are pretty good at protecting. I don't know what happened this time. I think it was elevation, but it just wrecked my kissers. Yeah. Yeah. It was windy and it was really high up.
Probably got wind burnt.
Is that a thing? Mm-hmm. Wind burnt?
Did you ever ski?
What kind of skiing?
Like downhill skiing.
All kinds of skiing. Yeah. Yeah. I love downhill skiing.
So downhill skiing, I consistently got wind burnt on my face when I was younger.
Wasn't that just more like chill? Yeah. No, I know. Because if it's strong wind and it's hitting you hard in the cold air, it could have been that. Yeah. It was weird because a couple of my brothers were, this was a brothers backpacking trip. I just went with all of them, and a couple of them were complaining. We all got sun. We were like, this is weird because we normally put stuff on, and we did, but we all got some sun. You can see there's my watch. It's got the, whatever.
You just got a lot of sun. So do you and your brothers, you said you do this backpacking thing a lot. Is this, were you always into backpacking? Was it a thing that your family did? Because you're one of 6, right? Mm-hmm. So why were your parents such backpackers? What was the thing about it?
I've said, I think a lot of people know this. So I was a big scouter, and it really came down to scouts. My dad was a major scouter. He was the scoutmaster, and when he wasn't the scoutmaster, he was still the scout, the quote unquote scoutmaster. He kept all this scout gear in our attic. And so people literally, sometimes when he wasn't in charge, he would still have the local charters or, troops come by and check out equipment. He even had a list, and they would go, all right, you need extra stuff for snow camping. I've got it all upstairs. It's we had this very open over the garage attic. He was just really big into all things scouts and mostly because of the outdoor activities. We loved camping. He loved backpacking, so he would take us. And so we went backpacking. It was a big part of our childhood. And so I just, I think it developed a love. And even though, as a young person, you're always prone to complaining and whining when, the earlier you start, you're like, I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to do that. And then as you grow, develop and mature, even in your youth, you're still like, okay, I think I figured this out. It's fun. You find that satisfaction in, hey, that was a successful backpacking trip. I wasn't as cold as last year. I was more prepared this time. And you're learning, and you see the fruits of your labors each time you do that. And so, as adults now, it's come full circle. There was a huge gap where we did it, but kind of reconnecting as brothers and, hey, this is what we did growing up, so let's do this now. And a lot of these trips will take our kids, and a lot of times it's just us. Yeah.
It sounds wonderful.
You are coming next time.
So you grew up in Oregon. Yeah. Right down the street from us. Yeah. And did you always want to be in arts? Where did that come from? Because I know that you said, you were really into scouting and that would have seemed to have been a career path, something in the outdoor, the outdoorsy community. How did you end up an actor? Was that by accident?
Kind of, but you'll hear me say this a lot, and people get used to me saying my twin and I, because I have an identical twin. And we were identical in almost every way. We looked look it but we acted it as well. And we had all the same interests. So it was kind of like a 2-for-1 kind of deal. Everything I did, he did. Everything he did, and we liked the same things. So yeah, we but don't worry, I have a singular identity. I feel.
I was gonna say your twin is completely made up. By the way, we grew up like in Scouts and doing a lot of outdoor stuff. But then on the flip side, we were very much creatives. We loved drawing. We loved drawing and art and anything we could get our hands that was crafty. Like we just loved building things and art. And then then that kind of creative desire and expression really started in, again, when we're kids, always drawing. And then it wasn't until like middle school and early high school that we kind of more discovered video making and I say filmmaking, but we had our dad's video camera. A VHS.
That he would take it was literally his Sony sports cam that he would take on these backpacking trips. And you could drop this sucker down a flight of stairs and be fine. Yeah. So we would take that and we'd start making movies. And whether it was like stop motion animation or just, stupid.
Really?
Little bit. Yeah. Huh. And it was, by high school, we loved making videos. We loved making movies. And so it was around that time I was like, and we were still drawing, big into art. But we were both like, I think this is what we want to do. We want to get into like the entertainment industry. Yeah. I mean, when I was a kid, I remember thinking, well, what do you do as an artist? I guess you'd be an artist. Not knowing, well, what exactly does that mean? And then I thought I was going to be like a children's book author. And then, high school, I felt like, okay, I want to get into like movie making and whatever that is. And then when I got into college and started studying film, that's when I started studying like acting on the side, writing, directing. I mean, like any film student, you're like, well, I'm going to try to learn it all and find what my niche is. And,
Were your parents apprehensive to sort of allow you guys into the arts and the entertainment industry?
No, they were very supportive. They loved it because my dad, I think, always scratched his head because he was a doctor. He was a family doctor. His dad was a family doctor, and not one of his sons or his daughter got into the medical profession. And I don't, he's such a wonderful man. And if he was ever upset, he never let us know. And I think he just was always happy that he saw that we were following our passions and doing what we wanted to do. And especially my twin and I, we always showed a propensity for the creative and performance and creativity. And so I think they were over the moon to see us like follow those passions and follow those interests. And so no, they were very supportive. And after Napoleon came out, like, cause that was the first thing, and they were scratching their heads cause they didn't get it. And yet they'll, nowadays they're like,
why are there so many tots being delivered to our house?
Like, we don't get it. But then they saw, they were, and I totally am fine with that. Like, because they'll admit now, like, oh, no, like, we love it. We get it. And I was like, wow, it took you a little while.
Now, does that character, like, did your parents watch that and in their minds, they're like, oh, yeah, we get it. Like, were you sort of...
No, that's what I'm saying.
Or were they literally just like, who is that character and where did he come from? Or was there any part of you where they were like, yeah, he's always been a little weird?
No, I think it helped that I had like, glasses and a perm and like didn't really look like me. So they're like, okay, he's acting. I think they were used to having all these boys because my older brother was in the entertainment industry as well.
And really? What'd he do? Or what?
So
does he
he produces for Warner Brothers video games now.
Oh, awesome.
So he got into video games, but and before that, he was actually the actor who tried to make his do his hand at acting. That didn't last very long, and he was like, okay. Then he got into production. He worked for Lawrence Bender for a while, and then he found his way into video games, and so he's been doing that. But yeah, so they were used to seeing us being stupid and always making jokes and always doing stupid characters at home. But, you know, when you see that movie, they're still like, I tell a lot of people, yes, it was very close to home. A lot of that character I took from my younger brothers, I took from myself. But, you know, Jared Hess wrote and directed it. He based it out of Preston, Idaho, which was not like where we grew up. Mm-hmm. So I think they were just still like, this is weird. I don't get this movie. I don't know what's happening here. Why are people laughing at this kid who clearly has problems? You know, like, I think I don't even know they're just like, okay, you know, my dad wasn't a big, he didn't watch a lot of movies. He wasn't a big movie guy.
No?
No. And
interesting
and
that
we
you guys
kind of loved
all
it.
got into it.
It was very weird. He was this staunch, like, you know, I mean, gentle, amazing person who's kind and just like so wonderful. And yet, you know, he just didn't have a music collection, he didn't have a movie. He wasn't interested in that stuff, you know.
Interesting.
He was just a very humble, simple guy who just focused on his work and us as family. And his passion outside of work was, let's go outdoors, let's go camping. And so that was his entertainment. But we were the ones who'd have to, like, you know, introduce him to, like, okay, is Dad gonna like this movie? No, he's not gonna like it. No, he's not gonna like this. No, he's not gonna like this. And we can watch stuff with him now, but it's still kind of like that, you know? And so no, they didn't get a lot of that stuff, you know, to begin with. But I think, and I don't know if he really cares or like gets it, but he loves what it has done, you know, not just for my career, but he, you know, and I say he, my parents, him and my mom, both just love to see the joy that, you know, it brings to people. And so, you know, in the beginning, it was tough dealing with like the fame and I'd come home and they're like, well, can you know, so-and-so, I'm going to bring so-and-so over to the house or sign this thing. And I let it bother me for like the first good chunk of years. And then, you know, like, I don't know. I mean, you can probably speak to this as well. Like, you start to see, you use that perspective and you always, as a good human being, you always try to put yourself in other people's shoes and see the way they see things. And you do that. And you're like, but you're always begging, like, but step in my shoes for a second and see what it's like for me.
I know.
But I've also, like, you know, whatever. It's cool. And so now when my parents want to, you know, they introduce me to someone or whatever, I'm like, yeah.
This episode is brought to you by Every Plate. You have been there. I know you have. You stand in front of the fridge with it open for like 5 minutes and you still have no idea what you're going to make for dinner. Yeah, that's me a lot. But I love using Every Plate because it takes that out of the equation. It is hands down the easiest way to make dinner exciting again without spending a fortune. The meals are super flavorful. The portions are generous. And I love that I can get something that tastes like restaurant-style food without the price tag. Last week, we had something my kids loved. It was this cheesy Mexican street corn hash. They loved it. They also loved the crispy buffalo ranch chicken, which I love, and it has tons of protein in it. And it's fun to cook, especially with the kids. And here's the kicker. You'll actually spend less on those meals than you would at the grocery store eating out. And with the new recipes rotating every week, you'll never get stuck in the we cook the same 3 meals every single week thing. I use Every Plate, and I think you should too. What are you waiting for? Dig into these flavor-packed meals your household will love. New customers can get meals for only $1.99 each. Just go to everyplate.com/podcast and use code Katee199 to get started. Discount applies to your first box. Limited time only. This episode is brought to you by Masterclass. You know how easy it is to get stuck scrolling your phone and suddenly like an hour has gone by? Yeah, I've been there. And lately, I have been swapping that habit for something that actually leaves me feeling good. Masterclass. On the platform, you can learn from some of the best in the world to become your best. With plans starting at just $10 a month, billed annually, you get unlimited access to over 200 classes from business leaders and writers to chefs and athletes. Right now, I've been diving into acting with Helen Mirren. I mean, come on, like learning from the best. Exactly. That's what I love. And I've actually started applying what I've been learning. It's practical, inspiring, and honestly, it's become a routine that stretches my brain in the best way. Here's the best part. Every new membership comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So there's no risk. Right now, our listeners get an additional 15% off any annual membership at masterclass.com/Katee. That's 15% off at masterclass.com/Katee. Masterclass.com/Katee. Well, I think that's actually like sort of a really good way to live your life. You know, I think it's really, really easy to focus on the bad, the things that didn't go right, the struggles in our lives. And granted, everybody has different struggles and they're all very individual. But for myself, I always try to do that stuff. Like when we were going through the stuff with our daughter, like I would give myself 5 minutes, 10 minutes a day to feel sorry for us. And then the rest of the day I would ignore it. Yeah. You know, because to sit in that much like pain and suffering and fear is like debilitating. You can't do that. And then it's a self-fulfilling prophecy and you're bringing on this negative energy. But it could go into any part of your life and business as well.
Oh, I mean, when you 100%, when you start, it's exercising your mind and your perspective, how you see things and how you react to how you see things. As soon as I start, reacting better to fans and people out there who recognize me for that and strangers, it helps me, it exercises my ability to react the same way to people I do know, people who aren't strangers. My wife, my relationship with my spouse is like gotten better as I don't focus on the negative. Don't focus on this, sometimes these little things. We have to have those moments. We love it as actors, meeting with other actors and bitching about the same little tiny things like, oh my gosh, don't you just hate it when this happens? Or think about it and you get that out of your system too a little bit, but you're just kind of like, but no, really. And then someone comes around the corner and you're both like, hello, yes.
So nice to meet you.
Yes. No, but it is you need those moments to vent a little bit, but it really does. It helped me with so many, most of the relationships in my life, personal or non-personal,
So, well, you talked about your life changing a ton. When I was researching you, is it true that Napoleon came out of a much smaller independent short?
Oh, yeah.
So walk me through that. I would love to know more about that and how that movie actually came about when you were at BYU.
So BYU students, we were, I was a film student. I was studying animation at the same time. So I was an animation film student, whatever. And Jared Hess, who was also a film student, we barely knew each other. We were in a couple classes together. And I was aware of who he was. I saw just little assignments that he had done. And I thought, oh, this guy's got, he's got a voice. There's something funny there. And I had done, I think, one acting gig. You're not paid as a student.
Because you're acting gig, meaning like a student film
working in a student film. Yeah, I was, but where I was on camera as, doing acting instead of behind the camera. So he was aware of me. And then he just comes to me one day and just like, hey, John, I'm Jared. And I'm like, yeah, man, we knew each other. And he's like, read this little script. I have this idea for a short film I want to make. And at that point, when you're film students, everything's for some class assignment, but and so for his next assignment, he's like, there's a short I want to make. I think you read it and let me know what you think, because I think you'd be good. He originally actually was like, I think when he brought it to me, he had already considered me for a different role. But then by the point when he brought it to me, he was like before he brought it to me, he was thinking John would be good as this bully kid.
Oh, interesting.
Because he had this other kid in mind for the main role, because the kid he had in mind was like an actual like teenager who was like the younger brother of a friend of ours,
Right.
who really was kind of an oddball. But he couldn't play himself on camera. He couldn't act like, you had to just have like, you'll get like the weirdest person in the world. You put a camera on them and then they start acting normal. You're like, what are you doing?
I just literally had somebody who was watching an episode comment that like, how hard is it to play yourself? It's not that challenging. Just do it.
Yeah.
I could do it. And you're like, no, you couldn't.
Yeah.
Playing yourself is actually the hardest thing you can do.
And he was trying to capture the magic of this kid. I wasn't there. I just knew he did like a screen test and,
he just wasn't there.
I don't know if we can do this. So that's when he was like shifting over. Was like, well, I think, John and his wife, Charusha, who was, they were already married and they were both film students. And she was like, well, I know people who know him. Well, let's think about him. Like, what can we do? And, the biggest compliment I still feel I ever get is whenever I hear tell his story, like, John's too good looking. I was like, oh, are you kidding me? And he's like, how do we ugly him up?
I love that.
And he's like, let's give him a perm. So, yeah, I mean, look, I take it as a compliment, but at the same time, I'm also like, they came to me for this role. There's a reason why. There's some natural, dumpiness there. So, but yeah, that's really I don't want to take forever. But so, yes, I read the script and I just remember, like, to this day, like, I'd never read anything where I truly was like, oh my gosh, I know this guy. And I could hear, and as soon as I read it, I was like, oh, I get this world. I see what you're doing. And Jared immediately like started doing his version of like the character. Yeah. He was a very animated guy and he just like starts talking like, so listen, I have to go to the store to get some Idaho Lotto tickets. Like he would just kind of do a little bit of this exaggerated version.
Yeah.
And I would hear, I was like, oh, I think he's either doing me or I don't know.
Like what he means, you would immediately translate it.
Yeah,
what he wanted.
Yeah. And I think he was thinking he was doing it in my voice. I don't know for sure. But point is I think the stars aligned perfectly. I say this all the time and I don't know how else we could have made this process work more perfectly. I think it was luck and kismet and karma and all those things where he came, fate, where he, I understood this character 100% and we were 100% on with the same vision for this character. And I think this world. And so as soon as I started doing like the character and kind of like, well, yeah, I think he, talks more like this. He's like, yes, that's it. And then we like went to this thrift store like the next day and we just started picking out his clothes. And that's really when that character started to form in our minds. Like, oh yeah, this is how, and if we could have recorded, I so wish we could have recorded us just hanging out in this thrift store. Cause we'd hold up a shirt and we'd start doing the character and start kind of moving the way he would. And then and then his wife was like, John, what do you think about getting a perm? I was like, oh,
I think it's really interesting that you guys did that because for people that don't understand like what we do as a living, when you're finding a character, and I'm generalizing here, of course, but when you're finding a character, all of the stuff that you're talking about that you got to do with the director, we usually have to do on our own. Yeah. We have to do that sort of like discovery and sort of like, what would this character wear and how would they move and how would they do this? And every time you start answering those questions, the character speaks to you a bit more. You find them a bit more. But to find a character right away and hear their voice and understand them, that's rare.
Yeah.
And so that entire process that you did is so cool to me.
Yeah.
And I love that. And my question though is, do you think that because you guys were so under the radar and because the movie was a student film, do you think that you had more spontaneity, less pressure, and you really were able to become this character without all that shit that's put on people in the industry?
100%. I would think because we were kids, you know, we were like in our low 20s, you know, when we started talking about it. This was back in 2001. I mean, really. And it was over like just a couple days before I think we actually shot on my birthday, and it was in October, and yeah, it was shooting. I mean, anybody, it's like just going out with your buddy. Sure, it was an assignment. It wasn't my assignment. It wasn't for my class. It was a different class that he was in, and so sure, you might have some faculty saying like, hey, make sure you get it done by end of semester. But that's it. So it's just like young guys, he was married at the time and I wasn't married yet. But still kind of like there's no other, things holding us back and having, complete freedom to just like, and with that freedom just came like, we can make our own mistakes and make our own choices. We have the time. We don't have the pressure. 100%. We don't have the pressure. And so it was just the joy we had in bringing all this thing to life. Just kind of like, and again, having both Jared and I being synced with the same image for who this and goal for who this character was, it was nothing but joy to have us both like, all right, try this out. Let's try this. And we got this. And then we're going to do this. And every time you give me a little thing of direction, I was like, oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I got it. And then I do it. And then he'd be busting up laughing. I was like, that's perfect. Yeah, we got it. And so it was also like easy to shoot. We shot the short in 2 days.
Yeah.
We just drove up there over the weekend. We didn't have a lot of time. As a student, when you are on an independent film or low budget, anything, you're limited on time, but you don't need that much time because it also worked so quickly. We found the character, he knew what he wanted to do. And so it was beautiful. And then, for the film itself, which we shot like a year and a half later.
So you guys have that short film.
Yeah.
What's the process between that short film to actually a feature film?
The process was, so Jared, we shot the short film. We loved it. Faculty, students, anybody who saw it really enjoyed it. But, it's a student film. It's not getting out there in the world. We had shown it at Slam Dance, which is like the Sundance wannabe at the same time.
Okay.
And then it was kind of a test for like, he had always in his mind, and I found out later that he was like, I want to shoot, I want to make a movie while I'm here at school. I'm young. I know we had a friend whose brother had like good chunk of cash. Simply is just like
out of the bed.
Yeah. He was just like, hey, my brother, cause he was good friends with Jared. And he says, dude, my brother has a lot of money and he's willing to, put up some money for a feature film. And I know because our friend had faith in Jared and knew that he was like, I know you want to try to do something. You got a vision. And Jared always knew he wanted to make a movie about some weirdo kid in Preston, Idaho, which is what the short was.
Yeah.
But he honestly was thinking of a different character. He was like, well, I did that. I want to do a different character.
So the short was not Napoleon.
No, it was Napoleon. It was the same character, but his name was Seth.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But he knew he wanted to make his feature called Napoleon Dynamite and have the main character be named Napoleon Dynamite. And he came to me, he was like, John, what do you think about being in this feature? But I think for this one, we're going to just do it different. Like maybe we'll shave your head and give you braces and have you just act, just a different kind of weirdo. And he was thinking that, but then after he let Peluca, which is the name of the short, breathe for a little while, he came back. He's like, no. We could do a feature on this character.
Yeah.
I still want to make it Napoleon Dynamite. I want to make it, in Preston, Idaho, and like essentially the same kind of story as the short, but now we're going to have more characters. He's like, because the short just has the Napoleon character and Pedro and like one other kid.
What, was Pedro Ephraim at that point?
No.
Okay.
It was high school kids from that high school. He just went up there.
That's amazing.
Yeah. He was just like, hey, we're going to do a casting session. And I don't think there's any other actors that, there's like all just locals. I mean, it's kind of like the film. So when he wrote it, he always knew he had like a Kip in mind. He had this like, oh, I want this brother character. I want this uncle character. I want grandma. I want Pedro. I still want Pedro. Pedro was the only one pulled over from the short.
Yeah.
But yeah, when Peluca showed him, he was like, I can easily we've got this character with the perm and the boots.
Yeah.
We can do this whole thing. And I was like, yeah, let's do it.
Was it independently financed, or did he take the short, the script, and a little bit of money and pre-sell the movie?
No.
So it was complete independent.
It was complete independent. It was like our buddy's brother with his wad of cash. He's just like, here you go. Here's, I think at the time it was 200,000, and then we had another 200,000 after that. So I think he knew ahead of time, but it was about like just production was 200,000, and so he's like, here's your 200,000, go and shoot.
Did you guys
movie.
have contracts in place? Like, did you own a piece of that? Like,
no, not really. I didn't have an agent.
no, of course not.
And I honestly, I mean, such a story point that people are always asking me, like, is it true you only got paid $1,000? Is it true you only got paid $1,000? I'm like, do I ask you what you make? But yes, that's true. I think I signed a paper. I'm sure I did. Again, I didn't have an agent. I was just like, and I also understood, I was like, look, you don't have money to pay anybody. No. Like, I'll take $1,000. Sure. That was the most money I saw. Like,
well, and if you were to go back in time, I'm sure you wouldn't change a thing.
Oh, I would.
Yeah.
Oh, I would get an agent.
What would you change? Would you age it ahead of time?
Well, I mean, you just don't know those kind of things. Like, it is what it is. Like, if I go back in time, if I change something, then it probably wouldn't be as good as it is today. Yeah, you're right. I mean, but because, I wasn't SAG. And all, a lot of the other actors were SAG. And so it's just in their contract that they get points. But the producers threw me some points. And so they're like, no, we have to give Jon something.
Yeah.
But I don't think that translated over well, just because it was all gift stuff and it wasn't like really contractual, So there's not a huge paper trail that says this and this. Most of the money I made for Napoleon was just like gift checks from Fox that the producers were like
kicking you back in a little bit.
Say, dude, throw him something. Throw him something. He's going out here promoting the movie. Throw him something. So I was like happy to get whatever. But yeah, I mean,
interesting.
So I wouldn't change a lot. But I will say, like, if I was SAG, probably things would be maybe a little different.
So most all actors on that made more than you.
I would say so. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
Most of the actors, but a lot of those people, a lot of those characters weren't actors. They were like Kip. He was the only other main character that was just like me. He was a buddy of Jared, Aaron Rule, who also lives here in Portland.
Really?
Yeah.
It's so weird. The people I'm finding live here in Portland.
Yeah.
There's actually enough actors here that like we should make a movie.
We should. I mean,
really
I don't know.
Legitimately should.
There's some kind of list that we need to sign up on. But so Aaron Rule, and several of the other characters were just people, locals. People who just knew Jared. A lot of the characters were just the people he based those characters on. He was like, wow, can you just do this one line or
So the scene where you're dancing, and I'm sure people bring this up to you all the time.
Never.
I know. I'm sorry.
No.
Because I'm so curious.
No. I get it.
This is the way that I am like with Battlestar Galactica, where people are like, I just have to know. And I'm like, okay.
And I get it. It totally makes sense.
Yeah. I cannot believe that entire thing was unscripted.
Yeah.
That's like, how did you do that as an actor? Because that's really challenging to do.
That wasn't really my actor side. That was 100% kind of like, that was me. I was very Jon Heder. Like in my late high school years, but definitely in college, I will say it again, my twin and I adopted, we loved everything 70s. And we just had this big love of like disco and
like John Travolta?
We were going, 100%. Yeah. Like John Travolta, disco, like 70s music and dance music. And we were always, kind of goofing during high school, but it wasn't until college that we started like kind of mess around whenever there were like, student dances or stuff. We get out there and we just kind of like mimic. I think we just naturally would mimic, and we'd see things and we'd start dancing. It was just kind of a goofy little side, party trick. And then a few years into college, after, I met Jared, it was when we were shooting the short film that Jared's like, simply, because it's not in the short film, but he said, Jared, he's like, sorry, Jared's to go, Jon, I hear you like to dance. Like, you're pretty good at dancing. Because at that point, where I was living I wasn't living in the dorms. I was living off campus, but close. And in our like kind of community of other college students, there would be times where we gathered together. My good friend who lived next to me was in a band. And so we'd always have like, all the college people gather around the house and play music. He was very Dave Matthews inspired, which is not my jam at all, but I love the guy to death. But anyways, we'd get in groups together. And at the time I was just like, okay, I had no problem. I wasn't dating or anything like that. And I was...
Well, had you danced like that, you wouldn't have been.
Well, no, maybe if I danced more, I would have. I was just starting to... Point was, you put on some music and I would start coming out of my shell. Like, I had already come out of my shell, like, a few years earlier. But so it was a thing. I was like, yeah, I'll kind of like, oh, don't play that Jamiroquai. And it was. Jamiroquai was like my jam. Or if you play some disco and then they put it on a boombox, I'm like, uh-oh, here we go. And like, I just start dancing and just start messing around. But I started like really getting into it. And so, just the locals, the kids, they loved it. And so some of that word got out. And because there's always someone who knows someone. So yeah, Jared's like, dude, I hear you can dance. You like to dance. I was like, yeah, sure. I mean, I'm all humble about it because I'm not a professional. I don't go clubbing or anything like that. So he's like, hey, let's shoot you dancing for this short. Like, let's put you on like the gravel road in the middle of nowhere and maybe we can work it in. So I did this little dance and he loved it. But he's like, it doesn't work for the short. It just doesn't work. But then that's when he came back, whatever, it was months later when we started talking about the feature. And he's like, you want to do this? Yeah, I want to do this. And he's like, okay, so I really want to put the dancing in the movie. I want to make it like the climax of the movie. Like, this is the thing you got to show off at the end of the movie. Mm-hmm. I was like, really? And, of course, there was a part of me that was like scared, but also like, oh, that could be, if it works out, that could be cool because it is so opposite of that character.
Yeah.
And it also felt like it was a very personal thing. Yeah. I loved it. I was like, yeah, this is like 100% my dancing. The only acting was on the day, because, it was one of the last things we shot, and we shot for about 22 days. So I think Jared thought, hey, you can prepare whatever your method is. I was like, I don't have a method. I just kind of wing it. I've never, choreographed or anything. Yeah. And I was like, should we get a choreographer? And he was like, well, I mean, we can't afford one. So if you can find it's like, all right, I'll just do my thing, I guess. And the only thing really, I just was like, okay, play some music and I'll get up there and I'll just kind of do my thing. But I just have to like stay in the Napoleon. Like normally if I could dance around, I'd smile. Yeah. And that was the only thing. I was just like, okay, just don't smile. Don't like emote, just do it all with the body and just keep it Napoleon up here in the face. And so that was it, and we had a good time. But it would be different now. Like maybe I would have invited more people, because a lot of the people on set and the crew and somebody like, hey, can we, like they weren't even asking, they just assumed. I was like, no, this is a closed set. Like, I don't want anybody here. Yeah, I was just like, I want this to be good. And I think I'm going to get nervous. I was like, I think I'm going to get nervous. I don't know, but
that's like your version of a sex scene. You're like, we're going to need to close.
It was 100%. But I was like, I don't know what it does, but let's just play it safe and just like kick everybody out.
Yeah. And
so they did. And I remember some of the people were getting offended, almost like, well, why can't we? I was like, no, look, let's do what's right for the movie. And then later on, we found out a couple of them had snuck in, were hiding like behind some of the pews and stuff like that. Or pews, the seats and stuff. And so they were watching. But yeah, I mean, we just did it and it was, yeah.
Have you guys ever discussed doing like, the Jay and Silent Bob thing where you just like follow Napoleon again and find him as an adult?
We haven't really discussed it. No, like, you know, I mean, I
would that even
going on
interest
the
you?
record right now. It would. It would be if. I mean, this is the same soundbite I give all the time because, you know, that's the other question that people always ask. You know, would you guys ever do it?
I'm so glad to hear that I'm different.
Yeah.
So glad
no,
to
I
hear.
can't believe it because it is true. I mean, I would be thinking the same thing. And people always say the same thing like, oh, I'm so glad you guys have kept the integrity of the movie that you haven't made it. And then other people are like, what's wrong with you guys? Why would you do a sequel? It's so obvious. Everybody else is. And simply put, I'm just like, look, I leave that in Jared's hands. It's his baby. If he were game, then I'd be game. Is basically
really
the
tough,
easiest question.
That would be a really daunting thing. You hit it out of the park the first time.
Yeah, it would be.
You know, like how do you know, that's when that pressure comes in the second time.
Every time I think about it, I think, because, you know, we've been pitched 100 things just from fans, right? Yeah, how many times I'm sure you've heard the same thing, even from like relatives or someone like, dude, I have the best idea for a Napoleon sequel. Like, what about you and Pedro? The time machine works. You guys go back to the dinosaur age. You hop on, you know, all kinds of like crazy things. And sometimes like it could go any direction. But it was almost over the last 20 years. It sure made sense. Now it's 20 plus years since. And I'm like, no, I don't want to speak out loud whatever Jared has in mind, but I feel confident Jared would be the same way. No, let's see him in real time. Like, what would he be like as an adult now?
Right.
Not try to like throw the exact same costume on, try to pretend you're a teenager again, you know?
Yes.
And I think, you know, because the first one was so unique and weird, and you're looking at this life and who he is and the people around him, I would be very curious. It's not obvious to me. And so just me curious, you know, out of my own curiosity, would love to see what a person like that, a character like that would be like now.
As an adult.
Kind of realistically, but still, you know, you want to make it funny. You want to make it like interesting, but still like this, you know, the extreme version of that is like me and some of the other castmates joke about it all the time. We're always thinking like, oh dude, if you did a sequel, it would be a hard, like drama, rated R drama, you know, because
it would have to
he's not charming anymore. He's dark and he's
like hanging out in strip clubs.
He's dealing with life. Napoleon dealing with life and all the crap that is thrown at him, you know, it'd be weird, but you know, I don't know. I mean, I would be very curious to see.
Yeah. So we're legitimately here to talk about something else that we haven't talked about at all. I'm sure the production for Waltzing with Brando is like, did you guys talk about the movie at all?
Yeah.
No, we
Happens
didn't.
all the time.
We'll just put Waltzing with Brando over the top of it the entire time we're talking about other
put
things.
it in the corner and just like little clips of it.
They'll
silent
click
clips.
here to buy tickets.
Yeah.
How did we talked about this originally a little bit when we were sitting at that convention that this is the second time that you'd worked with Billy Zane like in 2 years or something.
Yeah.
And that sort of, is that why your name came up to play this character, was because you had already just worked with Billy?
No, it was another weird coincidental kind of moment where I was signed on. I say signed on, like I had given my, you know, agreement. Like I got the script for Waltzing with Brando during the pandemic, I believe it was. And I, you know, like with so many other productions, they were like ready to, you know, almost just about ready to go. And then the pandemic hit and then everybody was like, oh shit, we got to rethink. But they were still going out and they gave me the script. I read it. I was like, oh, this is interesting. And, you know, I talked to Bill. Billy, you know, was always attached from the beginning. And this is his movie. And Bill Fishman, the director. And so I was like, yeah, I mean, I'm into this. And they were like, all right, well, we're still trying to figure things out and what to do because of the pandemic. Can we shoot here? We're going to shoot in Fiji. We're going to, you know, just figuring out all that stuff. And then in the meantime, and then that started getting pushed. And so like with so many of the projects I've been attached to, I was like, well, you know, it either happens or it doesn't. And I'm not surprised if it just floats away and disappears or if it comes back, it's always a bonus if it comes back. Because that's kind of what happened. I was like, oh, I would get updates every now and then. And there's like, well, we're not sure. And we're still trying to figure out if we can do this, if we got the funding. And in the meantime, I did another film, and the director was like, oh, we got Billy Zane, I think, to play the bad guy. I was like, no way, I'm supposed to be doing a movie with him.
Yeah.
Supposedly, but it'll probably never happen. So yeah, we did, but it was total coincidence.
Huh.
Yeah.
So when you read the script and you found out you were shooting in Fiji, did you immediately
In Tahiti.
In Tahiti, excuse me.
Changing,
in Tahiti.
Yeah.
In
Tetiaroa.
Tetiaroa. Yes. Tetiaroa, which is exactly where the island is. Like you actually shot in.
Tetiaroa is the island atoll.
Yes.
That they, because if you look at it, it's not like what a traditional island. It's like a submerged island with little motus that they call like mini islands that pop up out of the water. Okay. So it's like a ring of islands kind of.
Yeah. And very shallow water around it too, though, right?
Yeah, there's like a lagoon in between all of them.
Okay.
That whole atoll is the piece of land that he purchased. And we got to shoot one day on it.
Oh, only one
day. Because it does still have has the resort called the Brando there. And it's like top of the line, 10,000 a night or something like that. Oh, incredible. God. And we got to go hang out there when I first flew to Fiji, they took me over there just to kind of get in the mode and kind of see what all their Bernie and Brando's work had culminated to. And then it wasn't until the end of the shoot we went back for a day to shoot.
You didn't get to stay at the resort, though.
No.
Did you get to see any of the resort?
Oh yeah, no. We hung out in the resort. The resort is less of like, it's not a big building. It's more like these bungalows. Well, not even bungalows. I mean, they're like, some of them are smaller, some of them are bigger, and they're like houses or smaller. I mean, insane, like credible. And we they gave us lent us one for the afternoon so we could go swimming. And it's everything you imagine when you think of just perfect Tahitian island vacation getaway place where, the sand is white, water's crystal clear. Everything is just it's so eco-friendly, and how they recycle and use everything. And it was beautiful. It was just gorgeous. And in some of the places where we shot were this is the most beautiful and remote. That was the coolest thing. It felt truly remote, like you're just away from everything. And so that was really cool. But then we shot most of the movie on, oh man, I'm going to blank. It's the island off of the main island off of Tahiti, Moorea.
I was like, don't look at me.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, oh no. So Moorea, which we shot a little bit on the main island of Tahiti, but then we shot most of the movie on Moorea, which is beautiful, amazing as well.
Did you take any of your family with you?
I wanted to. Yeah. I really wanted to. I learned that lesson when I shot a movie a number of years ago in Thailand, and everybody was like, why didn't you bring your family? I was like, well, I was working every day.
Yeah.
And I don't want to ditch them. It was, and my kids were even younger then. I was like, they definitely would have come and joined me, except that we just shot at the end of the school year when they were doing tests and my wife was working, and it just didn't work out. But
did you, because the entire Waltzing with Brando is based off a book that Bernie wrote about his life. Yeah. Did you get a chance to read that book, and did it give you any insights into who he was as a person? I love the book. The book called Waltzing with Brando, written by Bernard Judge, who I play in the movie. It's great because it's not really a novel. I mean, he's just kind of, narrating just kind of his time from when he met Brando to when he was basically kind of fired. I mean, I don't want to give spoilers. Yeah, of course. But he is great because it's got lots of he was a big photographer, so he took tons of lots of photos, and it was very technical. He talks about how he was able to accomplish some of the things. But I loved it. Soaked it all up, and it just really helped me to learn about the culture, learn about the character of Bernie and what he was, this
transformation he's kind of going through, but really just how insane of a project this was to try to carry through of making Brando's Island a place where you could live, which was almost impossible to get to, because if it was just a typical island, you just pull a boat up there, whatever. But this atoll had like a coral reef that was surrounding it, and nobody wanted to disturb the coral reef, and so you couldn't get boats over it. You had to like kind of park a boat right up next to the coral reef. Then you had to hop on rafts, and they had to move all the equipment. That was just the beginning of some of the technical leaps they had to make, and it was just really fascinating to see and jump into that whole world of how he's doing his normal job, but like in this crazy place that was also like, oh, we're on island time. This is going to take years and years, and it did.
How much did Bernie actually end up spending there?
How much time
in total?
I think it was about a 5. Oh man, it was like 5 or 6 years.
So he was gone from his family for a very long time. And there was times where he'd be going. Yeah,
there was definitely chunks of time where he was just living on that island. And then, there's a lot of times where then he'd have to fly back home to, kind of complete some other project or get, talk to the investors to try to get them to continue giving them money. Not just investors, because it's mostly, talk to Brando's people to say, hey, please help us out,
Actually give us the money.
Yeah. And so.
It's such an interesting time because it is literally takes place over the literal rise of Brando, like the most successful movies of his time.
Yeah.
And it's so funny to see the part where, he goes to do The Godfather, and in Brando's mind at the time, is this historically accurate that he was just like, I don't know, it's some guy, I'm going to shove some cotton balls in my mouth.
Yeah.
Like he was just sort of like, I guess I'm going to go do this thing. And everything he did was to pay for, in his mind.
Yeah, everything. Because I don't think, Brando was keeping a ton of records of himself, but, he got close to Bernie, and Bernie was writing, like almost word for word, things that he would say is like, he seemed like he was just like doing these projects at this point simply to help pay for the island, pay for other things. This was his passion.
Yeah.
And he's like, he just kept calling, it's this gangster film I got to do. I got to do this gangster film. I got to do this other war film. And he was, it's a mystery. We don't know fully, what he was thinking, and if he really was like, no, I am the greatest actor and I'm just going to play it cool. But he seemed like he was truly in love with, he put it all into this island in Tahiti after he shot that. It was the Mutiny on the Bounty, right?
Yeah.
Mutiny on the Bounty. And that was like the mid 60s when he shot it, and they shot in Tahiti. And that's when he's like, oh my gosh, this place is amazing. And so since then, he just wanted to live the rest of his life there.
Working with Billy, having him be so passionate about the story and the person, and having him be a producer on it, what was the working relationship like with him on set?
It was great. It was what I love telling people is when I did promoting the other movie I did with him, which is actually coming out like next month, I think, Tapawingo. He plays like the bad guy in that movie.
Yeah.
And he was only there for like a few days. And so I got to see what I call like artiste Billy, where he comes in, and because it was only, for a short amount of time. And Billy is an artist. He literally is, like, he does art. He goes to art shows a lot, galleries and stuff, and he carries himself kind of that way. But then what was so perfect is, going to Tahiti, where he's trying to get in Brando mode. We're barely clothed most of the time, and we're always just hanging out. And I got to see dad mode Billy, because he's got daughters and I've got little kids. And so I, got to see him open up, and we, were able to bond that way.
Yeah.
Hearing his dad jokes, seeing his sense of humor. Yeah. His 2 daughters. His oldest daughter plays my daughter in the movie.
So high school. No.
She just started high school.
Right.
When we shot it, she was I guess, early middle school.
Right.
And then he has another younger daughter. So we just were able to bond, kind of like find like more the family version of each other while we were there. And so there's a little bit more of a chilled out Billy, because I think that's what Brando, he was channeling a lot of that Brando kind of vibe, like just doesn't care, goes with the breeze. And this is also channeling Brando in Tahiti. You know, he might have been very different. We don't really see a lot of Brando in LA, but in Tahiti, he was just very much like, this is my place and I want you to, anybody visiting my island, anybody visiting my house. He had a house in on the main island, and it's just like, just, you know, I've become a bit of a, you know, a Tahitian, you know, I'm one of them. And I want you to kind of see what that's like. So it was great working with Billy in that way, and we had a blast.
There is a scene in the movie where you brought up being naked, where I legitimately, it's the snorkeling scene. I legitimately was like, how are we not seeing penises?
Wait, you didn't?
No, were there penises in it? Oh my God.
100%.
John, I need to go back and rewind it.
Oh, do you? I don't think my wife would appreciate that.
Oh my God. Was it, because I literally was looking. I mean, I was looking. I was like, maybe they cut it out.
You know what? We're going to get into it. We're going to get into it. Yeah.
So no penises.
No, there was.
There are penises.
There's one.
Okay, there's one singular peni.
There's more than one that exists. There's one
that's in the shot.
It is terrible that now I'm telling people, like, if you look close, depending on how you watch it, because it will. I think the first time I saw it, it might have been smaller, but I just saw, we did kind of a pre-premiere in Vegas.
Yeah.
And that was the first time my wife
screen.
saw it. Yeah. It was on a big screen. Like a legit festival first year.
Did she know that you'd done this scene?
I had told her all the stuff. I love telling everybody, because I was just like, dude, you guys, oh man, I've never been more naked than like, and you know, while it's not in your face, there's still a lot of stuff going on.
No, like you don't cross camera.
No. But there was like, but this one scene in particular, which is, you know, in the book, it happened in real life, where they just go, it was the first time they meet, the first day. And Brando's he loved testing people, especially people who were going to work with him.
Yeah.
And he's like, we're going to go snorkeling right now, and we're going to go skinny. And he's like, I didn't bring swimsuits. He's like, no, you don't wear swimsuits in Tahiti. You just skinny dip. It's fine. We're going to go. And that really happened. And it's in the book. So we shot that, and it was actually the last day of shooting, and I wonder if it's because the producers thought, because we were swimming with sharks. And I don't know if they were worried about something happening, because we did like a test run.
Oh, I'm sure they were like, we should put them in the sharks on the last day.
I mean, that would make sense. And I was like, so should we give them some bait?
So the sharks swim around them? Oh my God. But they were white tip sharks, right? Or reef tips or whatever. Black tip. Which were like,
they were like dogs.
Supposedly like super benign.
Luckily, like I said, we did a test run like a couple weeks before, where we went out and swam with them. I was like, oh, this is great. This is cool. So when the time came, last day of shooting, we're shooting that. And, you know, I don't care if Billy hears this, I'm going to say him. I'm going to put him on blast. And like, he was like, hey, where's our little, covers?
Oh yeah, the sock.
Yeah, well, yeah, or this, you know, it's like, I haven't done a lot of those kind of scenes. So it's like, do you use a sock? Do you use some kind of like Speedo? And I was like, oh, this is like, all the footage is underwater. You guys are going to be farther away. You can do whatever you want. And at that point, Billy was still kind of like, I want to make sure that's here and stuff like that. And, they kept coming to me. I was like, no, don't worry about it. I'm like, I want this to be real. I'm getting out there. And then, so when I saw it the second time, first time for my wife watching, she's like, oh my gosh, you straight up see your dong just like floating around. I mean, I don't know if she was looking for it, but she probably was, because she's probably like more like, okay,
I know that.
Is it there? Penis. Is it there? Yes. Oh my gosh, John, what are you doing? I'm like, well, I didn't notice it so much the first time, but I was
didn't
like, great.
See it on an iPad
okay.
or
well,
my laptop.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't.
It's much harder to see, but so if you go see, if you're some of the special people who get to see it in the theater, Open your eyes.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
like a little, it's like Where's Waldo?
That.
Funny enough, that's what I named him, is Waldo. So Where's Waldo? It's not too hard.
You'll notice.
Yeah, you might notice.
Because it is literally like it's like watching a beautiful love story of like Return to the Blue Lagoon or something with like these two people swimming. It is literally like that scene. I was like,
if you need to know which one is Brando or which one is Billy, which one is me, just look for the dingle dangle. You know, it's me.
Okay, well, this actually brings me to something that I find really interesting. So when we were talking over dinner, we were talking very much about religion and the church and everything. And you are a member of the Church of Latter-day Saints.
Yeah.
And so how do you have any restrictions as far as what you will and won't do based on your faith?
There's no rule book that says anything. You know, you just kind of have, like, as an actor,
like they don't give out a pamphlet and they're like, if you're ever going to be in the entertainment
Exactly.
industry, this is the guideline.
And I don't know of any religion or organized, I mean, who knows? So, you know, you're figuring it out all on your own. And for the most part, you kind of following, you know, the spirit, following your gut feeling, like, wow, you know, do you feel comfortable doing something like this? And for me personally, you know, like there's probably other members who, you know, who are actors, or at one point in my career, I'd probably be like, oh, I'm never going to be nude. But just me personally, I've never been that much of a, I'm not that much of a prude when it comes to like my own personal nudity, like, which is weird because I am very like squeamish about a lot of things, or not squeamish, but just like, okay, yeah, I'm not going to do that. Or I'd rather not do that or use that kind of language or whatever it is. And up until the, you know, that point, I had not been offered a lot of, you know, roles or had material to work with where I was getting naked, because I was always like, would I, if it ever comes? I kind of like think that would be fun. Like, who cares? Like, it's just me. I'm not doing it to be like, to lure, you know, men and women's minds to doing, I don't know. I was just like,
you're doing it for your big break.
Yeah.
So how'd you make it, Jon, in the industry? I showed my Waldo.
My Waldo. I revealed Waldo and his friend Wanda.
You have
I was just
two?
No. That's. I was like, oh, there's a Wando. There's Wizard. I'm a big Waldo fan. I just was like, because I would mess around, you know, whatever. I'm hanging out with friends and my brothers, or just, I'm probably revealing too much. Yeah, I don't know. I just thinking like later years, and I was just like, look, you know, I don't care. It's fun.
I think I don't care anymore. Like, I think when I was younger, I was very strict about what I would do on camera. And then when I did Riddick, I was 32, and it was like a non-negotiable 3-second side boob push-in. Like, it had to be in the movie. They wanted the
non-negotiable,
nudity.
like they wanted that. Oh, that's what they're pitching.
You couldn't, you had to agree to the nudity ahead of time. They paid you extra to do the nudity ahead. I mean, it was like, this is happening.
Yeah.
Take it or leave it.
Yeah.
You know, and so I called my dad ahead of time. I was like, what do you think? And he was like, you're a 32-year-old woman. I don't think anyone's going to be like, oh, she got her career because she showed her boob in a movie. He's like, you're fine. And now that I'm like 45, if somebody was like,
you're fine. Just remember, I am not watching that.
He watched it next to me, and my brother was in the premiere, and he sort of screamed a little bit when he saw my boob, and my dad was like, it's just a boob, Eric. Like, calm down. But now that I'm like 45, like the older I get, the more I'm like, oh, they want me to be nude? Well, that's a compliment.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Whereas I feel like, why didn't I do these more when I was younger? And now I'm more like, I mean, I'm definitely not at my peak in this movie. I was just like, you know, okay, wow. But it was also very freeing because I was like, I'm learning. It's like so many other things. Like, I don't care. Let go. There's other times where like, whatever.
I love that it's your wife that freaked out. I was watching it on a plane, and there are moments, like I've watched a few movies on the plane where I felt like I couldn't let other people watch it.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're
Yeah.
like, oh, this could be a child over here or whatever. And I was watching like a horror film and I was like trying to cover it because it was so violent.
Oh, yeah. We've all had those moments in planes where you're like, oh, shoot. Yeah. I mean, they say it every time. Please be aware of viewers around you. I was like, I don't care. And then you watch it. Oh, gosh.
Yeah. So it was on that. And I was definitely looked around to make sure that there were no children. It was also at night. And it's like, Katie's your penis.
Wait.
Everyone.
Wait, what? Wait, my movie?
Yeah, I watched your movie on the plane.
Oh, okay.
And I was trying to, because the scene, there's so much nudity that I mean, not so much nudity, but there is definite nudity. Like,
but it's chill.
It is very chill.
Although there's one scene, I will say, there's one scene at the waterfall.
I was conscious of people, the kids around me, just in case.
Yeah.
Just in case.
The swimming with the shark scene, you blink and you'll miss it.
Yes,
you're
exactly.
Fine.
It was great though, because
but don't blink.
Don't blink.
It's a game and you'll have fun. There's like 2 or 3 times where he pops out.
Oh my God, I'm going back and watching it right now. I'm going to go home. And I'm going to say to my husband, we're going to sit down right now. We're going to rewatch this movie.
We're going to play a game.
We're going to play a game.
You take tally of how many times, and we'll compare our numbers.
I will even put it up on the big screen. Yeah. We will put it on the big screen.
Okay.
And then I will send you a picture.
Okay.
Just kidding. I won't do that to you. I promise. Thank you. I honestly, I really enjoyed the movie.
Thank you.
And I thought it was fantastic. And it was so interesting because it's not a part of Brando's life, I think, that anyone is aware of. So.
Yeah, it's really fun. Not having done a lot of biopics in it, it's fun telling people it's kind of a biopic. It's a specific time of this actor's life that everybody knows, but not everybody knows that he did this. And it's fun talking to, there's some people who are of that age who are like, oh yeah, I remember when that happened. And then a lot of people are like, oh no, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So, it makes its own story. It's not like it's a Brando biopic. It's just a really cool kind of idea and story that happened to
And it's all around that time when he refused his Oscar and that was controversial. I mean, it was literally at the height of his career.
Yeah.
And I found it very interesting. It made me want to go back and watch some more of watch movies again, his movies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you so much for having me.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Hindsight. I am so excited to talk about some Jon Heder. And of course, I always do that with Jeph, my producer / co-host. Hi, Jeph.
Hi, Katee.
Hi.
So you had an in-person one.
I did. And I did this in-person one because Jon quite literally lives down the street from me. You know, it's really funny. Mm-hmm. Other than the fact that I'm drinking a non-alcoholic beer at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, but it's literally just water at this point.
Well, you're having a stressful day, so.
It's fine. You know what it is. It is. Anybody else who has children is also having a stressful day.
Yeah.
Jon and I were at a convention and we were talking about where we live, and ultimately, when we were moving to Portland, we couldn't decide between moving to Portland or across the river in this smaller town in Washington. That's
the thing that I just realized going to Portland for the first time that Washington is so close.
It's literally people in Vancouver go to dinner in downtown Portland.
Vancouver, Washington,
excuse me. It's 20 minutes away. It's so close. But we fell in love with this house in a small town just a bit further than Vancouver in Washington, and we almost bought it. I mean, I still regret it to this day. I regret not buying that house. It hurts my soul. But Jon Heder lives down the street from that house.
Yeah.
Down the street from the house. Our kids would have been in school together.
And was that part of the temptation?
I didn't know.
Yeah. What a
until
fun
I was
surprise
sitting
that would
next
have
to
been.
him. Had we known, we would have bought that house, because we would have known somebody there who we could have asked about the school system and all of these things that are all unknowns when you're moving to a place that you don't know anything about, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Do you have any other celebrity neighbors in your new place that you're willing to talk about?
Oh, I mean, a lot of basketball players.
Okay. Are you friends with them?
Players. No.
Do you have any friends in your neighborhood?
No.
Okay. let's work on that.
We are working on that.
Okay.
We're figuring it out. Jon is wonderful, is he not?
Yeah. I mean, it's always interesting going into these conversations with somebody who is so associated with one particular piece of art, I would call that.
Hello.
Yeah. Yeah. You understand.
I understand.
But you
Yeah.
also, I mean, you have at least one or two. I mean, three, really. I mean, I think there's three that people associate you with, where
They do.
Jon really just has the one that he's so identified with.
So, because it was such a runaway hit. Battlestar Galactica is a hit in a subsect of people.
Mm-hmm.
Napoleon Dynamite was a hit with everyone in the world. Like, there is nobody when that movie came out that didn't at least know what it was, or drop their kids off to see it, or watch
have
it when
an
it came out on
impression.
video.
Or have an impression.
Everyone knew. And what surprised me about that, and it was so funny in the interview, I literally said, I'm so sorry if you get these questions all the time.
Yeah.
I know you get these questions all the time.
Yeah.
The way that it came together, and yes, I could have Googled this. He's probably answered the question a million times, but that's not a conversation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Listening to how that movie came together blows my ever loving effing mind.
Yeah. And I mean, the fact too that, like, not that he wasn't interested in acting, but acting wasn't even necessarily his like main thing that he was interested in.
Writing children's book.
Yeah. And just being in the film industry. Like, I think there's another path for him to just be a filmmaker or be a producer or, be a writer, something like that. But he got instantly catapulted with this role that had opened up a whole career for him. And he's done many, many things since then.
Absolutely. He has many things. And he's been the voice of many beloved characters that people may or may not know about. But when this project came along to interview him for, I've known of Billy Zane for a long time. I think we all have, just because he's been around for a very long time. But Trisha Helfer did a movie with him as well. So I knew of him sort of like, 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon. I was excited to see this movie. I was thoroughly entertained by this movie. Billy Zane's portrayal of Brando is, I did not know Brando.
Right.
He was very convincing in this role.
I haven't watched the movie, but just the pictures alone, he looks so
like him.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's the Brandon Routh effect.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like,
they were like, oh, that's the guy.
You look so much like him. How do you not play him?
Yeah.
I enjoyed the movie thoroughly. I missed his penis.
You know what? You want to know what I did? While the interview was
it?
happening, I pulled up the link that you were sent and I scrubbed through to find the scene, and it's definitely there.
Is it really?
It's very few quick shots, and it's like from the bottom of the lagoon looking up at them, and they're kind of in silhouette, but you can see, he called it Waldo. You can see Waldo flapping around for a few shots.
Oh,
yeah.
I had no idea. But I loved what he said about it too, that, when you're in, and that was the movie. The movie was this guy who is not free love, which is, sort of what Brando was. He was sort of in the 60s. He like had this thing, this like very,
well, he's, one of the most famous,
conscious, like environmentalist. Like he was very much like who you would think, like, for lack of a better term, a hippie was, right?
Yeah. I think so. He was a little older than that generation, but he was definitely a pretty open-minded guy.
So I think that just Jon, even being in the region, shooting the movie and the subject matter, it makes complete sense. And that's why I asked him about his comfort level, and that, like, I am not like fully comfortable being nude on camera, but I think in that setting, I would have been like, oh yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's part of the movie and the setting. And that's what the whole movie is about, is sort of this guy who reluctantly gets brought into this Brando world or sucked into it, and then ultimately ends up, he's
like drinking the Kool-Aid.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Metaphorically, not.
Of course, metaphorically.
There's been people who have been taken to jungle locations before and drinking the Kool-Aid in a terrible way.
Yeah. But I really enjoyed it. So I hope everyone gets a chance to see this movie, because I think that it's a different side of Jon. That if you've only seen Napoleon Dynamite, I think you need to watch this for a different impression. But he's very good in the movie, and I would like to see him in more movies like this. So
yeah, maybe this will open some doors.
you guys, on that note, we're gonna end our Hindsight. I want to remind you guys to send those emails and comments to the sackhoffshow@gmail.com. And if you like what you're hearing here, you can come and join the Patreon. It's patreon.com/the Sackhoff Show. We're going to talk more about this. We're going to talk about my life. We're going to talk about, things that are going on.
I have a fun story about Napoleon Dynamite that I'll tell on the Patreon.
Oh my God, I can't wait. I cannot wait. I cannot wait, because there's so much more about Jon I want to talk about too.
Also, Waltzing with Brando will be in theaters September 19th, which has already happened by the time you're listening to this. So if it's out in theaters, go see it.
It's out in theaters, so go see it. And when is this coming out?
This comes out on the 23rd.
23rd. Okay, fantastic. I'm in Disney World with my family, and I hope you guys are having a fantastic time. We will see you next Tuesday, and that's what's up.